and my quilty friends, welcome back to my channel, Pages and Stitches. That's spelled pages, the number 3 stitches, both here and on Instagram. My name is Kelly, and I am finally bringing you my next update. It's been about 11 or 12 weeks since my last one, and I've been a busy girl, so I have a lot to share with you. Hopefully all good things that you enjoy. Today is Friday, October 3rd. It's October 3rd. It's Taylor Swift's album release day. So if you're a Swiftie, today's a good day. So anyways, happy Taylor Swift Day if you're a Swiftie. Let me first start by saying a big thank you to everybody who's here hanging out with me. Whether you're new and you are just kind of checking me out and seeing what the vibe is, and you got curious and clicked on my video and you're giving me a try, thank you so much. I truly appreciate you, and by all means, please keep coming back for more. I like hanging out with my quilty friends. And then of course, if you are a returning viewer, thank you so much for coming back and keeping up with me throughout the weeks and the months and the years that I've been on this channel. It still amazes me how this hobby is, for the most part, a pretty like solo venture. Can be very isolating, but here on YouTube and then in a couple, of other online communities, we've sort of created a little group of friends and companions and supporters and educators, and I think that's really cool. So anyways, thank you for being here, every one of you. I very much appreciate it. Just quickly, for those who are new and don't know, I also film floss tube videos, which are cross-stitching videos, very similar to this type of video, just another vlog style update of all of the things I've been working on and purchased and am interested in and questions I have, etc., etc. So if you like this and you also cross stitch, you may like floss tube. If you are interested, it'll be my most recent update will be the video on my channel right before this one. I do one floss tube update and one quilting update every single time I update, and that one will have already been posted by the time you're seeing this one. So before we get into everything, I just want to give a quick life update so you know what's been going on. Usually my updates, at least nowadays, are about 3 months apart, and so there's quite a bit of life that can happen in that time. For me, I was prepping over the last couple of months over the summer to take a giant test, a massive test that I needed to pass in order to keep my job. I work in healthcare and in radiology and MRI, and you have to prove to the world that you are capable of doing the job safely. That is a requirement via the federal government in order to be able to do the job. So I had to prep for that test. I had been studying and prepping all year, and my test was in August, and so I took it, I passed it, we're all good. But for like all of July especially, I was doing no crafting. I was reading a little bit because I do audiobook in the car, back and forth between work and stuff, so I was still getting that in, but like my quilting and my cross stitching just died because I was too busy studying and stressing and preparing for this major life-changing event should I have not passed it. But it's behind me now. I passed it. We're all good. According to the state of Texas and the federal government, I am capable of doing my job. So it's all good now. And what that means is for at least a month of this last gap between updates, I did nothing, and I was starting to panic that like I wouldn't have enough to share with you for this update, and then I would have to postpone it. But what happened after I finished it and like disassociated for a day was my appetite for all of my hobbies was ravenous. And so I started reading like my life depended on it, cross-stitching like crazy, and quilting like crazy. And because of that, I have plenty to show you. So, like I said, I've been a busy bee. I have finished 3 quilts, 3 fully finished quilts. Tops assembled, quilting done, binding done. They are finished. Amazing. And as you can see behind me, I also finished a quilt top, which is amazing. The top is done, the back is all sewn together, and it's waiting to come off the wall and go into my closet, ready for the long arm appointment that's coming up at the end of the year. So I've just been finishing, which means I've also been starting, because every time I finish something, I feel like I have to start something, you know? It's like the reward for finishing it. So I have 3 quilt finishes, a top finish, and then 3 new starts, which is amazing. Would you like to say hi? Would you like to say hi to everybody? My little old man. This is Milo, my little boy. He's an old man. He's 18 years old. He's a toy fox terrier. If you've never met him before on this channel, he's the Milo that I'm always referring to. And he's hanging out. He's kind of circling my ankles right now. He might need some attention, so I figured he wanted to come say hi to everybody. Look at his little head. Look at his little gray head. Oh, I love you so much. So that was Milo. That was my sweet little boy. He wanted to say hi. I think he just wants attention and to go out, but that'll have to wait. Okay, so I would also like to just run through my reading update really quick. Again, if you are unaware, my username is Pages and Stitches. The pages of Pages and Stitches is representative of my third passion, which is reading. So I've got my quilting, I've got my cross stitching, and I've got my reading. And like I said, after I didn't have to read an MRI related textbook, I read so much. I devoured it, and frankly, I'm not off of that high yet. I've still been reading. So in like 6 weeks, I read 30 books. I didn't put anything down. I slept very little because most of my time was quilting and crafting and stitching and reading. It happens. I like to give a reading update of all the books that I've read between this video and the last. I don't really rate them. If you want to know what I think of them, I do talk about that on my Instagram if you want to follow me there. Otherwise, I just like to talk about what it is I read, because I get curious about what other people like to read, mostly because I'm nosy, but also I'm looking to be enabled. And so this is me returning that favor. Okay. So I'm going to rattle them off and then put the images of the covers on the screens and then go from there. I read a lot of series and like parts of series, so we'll do that part first. I read Play With Me, Unravel Me, and Fall With Me by Becca Mack. I read Deal With the Devil, Luck of the Devil, and Heart of the Devil by Meghan March. I read Swift and Saddled and Lost and Lassoed by Lyla Sage. I read The Bribe, The Bluff, and The Brazen by Devney Perry. I read The Butcher, The Carver, and The Saint by Penelope Sky. I also read Zodiac Academy, The Awakening, Ruthless Fae, and The Reckoning by Caroline Peckham and Suzanne Valenti. They're co-authors. And then I did a couple rereads of older books that I had read a long time ago, but I was kind of like itching to reread them for various reasons. So I reread Dark Lover and Lover Eternal by J.R. Ward, and I also reread Caraval by Stephanie Garber. Okay, then I read Pucking Strong by Emily Rath, Ballad of a Broken Heart by Stephanie Garber, Alexius by Bella J, Can I Tell You Something by Holly June Smith, The Never List by Jade Presley, Still Beating by Jennifer Hartmann, Accidentally Amy by Lynn Painter, The Midnight Arrow by Zoey Draven, The Fake Mate by Lana Ferguson, The Nightmare Before Kissmas by Sara Raasch, Wreck the Halls by Tessa Bailey, Munro by Kresley Cole, and The Never King by Nikki St. Crowe. I misspoke, that was actually 33 books. That's a lot of books. Okay, let's move on to quilting, shall we? That's why you're here. We'll do FFOs first. So the first two, I'm sorry to say, I don't actually have with me at the moment because they were both gifted. But I did take pictures and video of them before they left. So I'll insert the first one here, which is my baby quilts that I made for my friend Cashlyn and her baby Barrett Dean. cute little boy. He has officially been welcomed into the world. Mom and baby are doing great. They're nice and healthy. He was born into a hunting family, which is why the theme of the baby quilt is less traditionally baby quilt and more country. Hey everybody, it's me from the past. This is July 29th. And I'm just popping in real quick because I have a finish on the baby quilt that I was working on for my friend that I was using the Woodsy and Whimsy fabric with. And so I'm actually about to head out the door after I wrap it up in my gift box and give it to her at the baby shower. But I wanted to show it to you guys first because obviously I won't have it by the time I'm filming. Oops, sorry, I'm shaking the camera. I won't have it by the time I'm filming my update later. So I'm very excited. It's probably got some fold lines in it, so I apologize for that. But I'm very excited. It turned out great. And here it is. So it ended up 40 by 40, I think. And I quilted it at home. I just did like a random 45-degree line kind of all the way across, just randomly, with a like taupey colored quilting thread. It works great. It's not overbearing, but you can still see the quilting a little bit. Yeah, and then here's the backing with the quilting on it. Turned out great. I just bound it with a dark, like a solid dark brown that I had in my stash. Just a quick little thing. And I think it turned out great. It's perfect for the vibe. Remember, her baby boy is gonna have his nursery decorated kind of like naturey, hunty a little bit. That's kind of the vibe she was telling me. So that's why I went with these colors, and I went with the animals and the sort of more masculine feel to it. And I really like that. I really like non-traditional baby quilts. You know, the traditional baby fabric and traditional like pink and blue feels very, I don't know. I guess to me, it feels like it involves a little less creativity. And that's not to knock baby quilts that are made like that. That sounded very mean. But I really like looking at baby quilts that are non-traditional because I think when you put a little bit more, perhaps thought behind, the recipient and the kind of life that they're gonna live and the type of parents that they have, I think you get like a more creative baby quilt. So that's what I ended up with. This is perfect. So I'm just about to wrap it up and get it packaged in my box and then head out the door. We're gonna go to a baby shower. So here in just a second, I'm gonna flash back to the future. Okay, bye. So the next quilt that I fully finished was donated to some friends of mine who are hosting the Queen City Stitch Retreat, which is a cross stitch retreat in Charlotte, North Carolina, this month. And I did this last year too. I donated quilts to be raffled off to help raise money. They raise money for a local animal shelter every year. And then also the attendees get to win prizes throughout the weekend, which is great. And last year I donated 2 quilts. This year I donated 2 quilts, and one of them is my next finish, which is the purple paint chips quilt that I had been working on. You saw the blue and green, the orange and yellow, and I also finished my purple and pink one, which is my biggest one. And I got it back from my long armor, got it all finished, took the video, and immediately took it to the post office. So here is the video and the images that I took before the quilt was sent off. Hey everybody, it's me from the past. I am popping in real quick to show you my finished purple paint chips quilt because it's about to get shipped to another state. It is being donated for a raffle. Specifically for the Queen City Stitch Retreat raffle that's in October, so I gotta get it in the mail so we can get there. But obviously before I do that, I want to show you guys because the paint chips project was one that I had been working on for ages, and then obviously last time you saw that I finished the blue and then the orange one, and now the purple, pink, white, gray one is all done. And I wanted to show it to you. So I sent it off to the Long Armor and she got it all stitched up for me. I got it bound not too long ago and it's all finished. So I'm very excited to share it with you now. Okay, so this one is bigger than the other two. It was the one that I had the most scraps for the paint chip blocks to create. So it ended up a little bit larger. And I don't know the exact dimensions off the top of my head. If I can remember, I'll put it on the screen. But it's all done. And I will try and show you all of it, but because it's bigger, you probably won't see it. So, okay, so here is one end. I've got my purples on this side, and then it fades to white in the middle. And then we're getting down to pink at the other end. Somehow I doubt you can see it all, so let me flip it over. Okay, here's the other side with the pink in this corner, and then gray down here, and then it goes to, again, the white in the middle, and then the purple down in the opposite corner. Oh, I really need, I don't know, I need a better way to display my quilts whenever I'm showing you guys. Let me bring you in close. So the quilting pattern I've used before. It's the kimono pattern that I used on my chevron, City Girl chevron quilt that I made with the Tilda jelly roll in the gold. And let me see if I can find a spot on the quilt where you can see it really well. Yeah. Okay, you can kind of see it better here on the darker end. So it's the flower part in this area is upside down, but it's got these swirly spirals and like it's almost like a tulip cup. Let's see if I can find it. It's hard to show. I took a bunch of pictures, so I'll be sure to insert those as well. And I did get a couple of close-ups that have like a better sort of display of what the quilting pattern looks like, because it's hard to see. We chose a purple variegated. It goes from like a pinky purple magenta to more of a lavender kind of undertone purple, so it blends in really well. You kind of can see it a little bit. Oh yeah, look, here's that flower. Pretty well on the white part in the middle. Yeah, and there it is, like upside down. So yeah, it's really pretty. I love this pattern. I think it's very elegant and like whimsical. The purples worked great because they stand out a little bit in some of the parts, but it also blends in really well in the others. And then again, here's the backing, which is just like a watercolory looking different shades of purple and pink. And I use that same fabric on the binding all the way around. So, oh, I feel winded because this quilt's actually like heavy. That being said, that concludes my paint chips project. Thank you so much to the viewer who suggested that name in the comments. It was a perfect name. And I'm very pleased with how it turned out. It was just like a crazy, I don't know, harebrained idea that I had with my scraps, and it made a significant dent in them. And now it's done. So the blue and the orange one I still have in my stash. I will probably hang on to those for a bit, but this one's getting donated to a raffle. I'm happy to have another finish under my belt. So it definitely means I have room in the lineup for a new start. I've already started a new start. I'm probably gonna add another one, let's be real. And yeah, I love this one. I think it turned out great. I'm very proud of it, and I'm very happy to share it. And I'm like super excited that it was made entirely with scraps. And I want to say here at the end of this like conclusion of the project, a massive thank you again to Sherry McGill from the channel Lessons Learned. I'll have her channel tagged down below. She's the one that reached out a while ago and asked if she could teach a tutorial on my paint chips block on her channel, because she does a scrap bustin' kind of style tutorial video, and her channel's great. I watch it all the time. Hi Sherry. So yeah, if you guys ever want to try it, feel free. It's fun to just kind of like be a little crazy and loosey-goosey with your scraps, because they're scraps. You know, what are you going to do with them? But thank you all so much for being so supportive with the results. Especially a lot of you guys were very complimentary about seeing these things all finished together. I'll definitely have this one posted on my Instagram. I have the other two posted already. And I do think they came out really great and really bright and fun and wild. And there's also like an element of like seek and find with all the different things. And whenever I see the pictures, I can see memories of all the other quilts I've made, which is really cool. And now it's time to share them with other people. Anyways, thanks guys. Okay, I'm gonna go ship this off and you're about to pop back into the future. Okay, bye. Okay, one more FFO. And this one I do have with me. I just finished it a couple days ago. I'm gonna hang on to it for a minute. It's not being gifted away anytime soon. It might be in the future, but not yet. And I will insert a picture of what it's supposed to look, or what the mock-up looked like on the pattern, because the pattern I printed out in black and white. This is the Monarch quilts that I bought from the cloth parcel. Now, unfortunately, the cloth parcel is out of business now. I'm not sure if you can acquire those patterns elsewhere. I'll see if I can figure that out. And then if I can, I'll have anything that I'm able to link down below, including those patterns if I'm able to. But as far as I'm aware, they're out of business. The website was closed down and there's no more cloth parcel. But I finished the pattern, and I think I had 6 or so blocks left to make the last time that you saw it, and now it's done. So I'm gonna get up on my stool and try and show you, and then we'll talk more about it. Okay, here is the finish. Ta-da! I don't think you can ever see the whole thing whenever I step back here, but I mean, you can see side to side, and then I'll try and kind of pull more up. There we go. So, okay, let's look at it closer. So I used a fabric line called Celtic Fairies from Lewis and Irene. Unfortunately, that fabric line is no longer available, which seems to be the story a lot whenever I do these updates, but part of the reason is because, you know, when the lines are gone, they're gone. They don't necessarily make a comeback sometimes, but not really. So unfortunately, this one's not available anymore. But I have to say a big thank you to Amy of Quilting with Fiber Arts. Amy, I will have her channel linked down below. You should definitely check it out. She was the one who showed yardage that she had purchased of this line on her channel, and I immediately like paused the video, pulled up Fat Quarter Shop, and bought a Fat Quarter bundle of the whole line. So thank you, Amy. This is your fault. And it is this lovely, like, foresty, Celtic themed line of purples and blues and creams, and it's got fairies and thistles and unicorns even. Just a bunch of fun colors. So I did have to supplement with one more fat quarter because the fabric requirements were like 1 fat quarter per block. It was like a 1-to-1 ratio, even though they get divided up. The fat quarter bundle that I had was only 15 fat quarters, and I made 16 blocks. So I needed another fabric, and let me find it. So I added this navy and silver glitter fabric that sort of complements the rest of the line, because you can see there's some dark silver and navy prints. And then the background color is this beautiful sort of slate blue, and it is a Bella Solid called Galactic. It is still available in the Fat Quarter Shop. It's a beautiful, I needed more of it, and then I ended up ordering too much, so I used it in another quilt that you'll see later, but that's what the name of that color is. And then for the backing, this came later. I'm not sure of the fabric line. If I can figure it out, I'll include it. But this backing is just like a forest, light blue foresty themed with different critters. It's bi-directional, so it goes this way and that way. But we got squirrels and foxes and owls and acorns, and there's flowers and leaves and mushrooms and like all the stuff that's on the front basically. And it fits perfectly because it's this beautiful light blue that complements all the other light blues. Now, the quilting pattern that I used is one that I've used before on my Stars Hollow quilt. I will insert a picture so you know what I'm talking about. Let me find a good, see if you can see it. It is a big leafy print, like a big sort of almost maple looking leaf, and in between there are little acorns. Let me find the, yeah, see there's a little acorn, and then that's what the leaf looks like. So it's just a big bunch of these leaves kind of swirled throughout with little curly cues in between, and then a random acorn here and there, which is perfect because there are acorns in and leaves in this print, which is the sort of wooded one that looks like it's got a like a tree man face. So it works perfectly. The fabric, I'm sorry, the thread that we used on the front is a variegated, cool toned light purple. And we like it because, me and the long armor, we like it because there are sections of it that look almost blue. They're very periwinkle. So it works, like it blends in very nicely, but in the parts you can see, it matches really well. And then on the back, she just used a light blue, so it blends in. You can see the fabric. Yeah, so that's it. I'm very pleased with how this turned out. I'm gonna, of course, get some pictures so I can post it on my Instagram, and then I'll have them inserted on the screen too, so you can see better close-ups. But that was a nice finish because I started that one a while ago, and I just kind of like started it as a casual, like whenever I want to knock out a block, that's what I'm gonna do. So now it's done, and now I have to find another one of those. It's fine. So the next quilt that I'm going to show you is my top finish that is behind me. And this one you may recognize from previous updates. This is a quilt top that I designed myself. I had this fabric line, which is called Dark Forest. It's from Studio E, again, not available anymore. And it came with this panel, and it had those different panel prints. And the quilt that was designed to go with it, I didn't really care for. I also don't have the entire line. I'm missing a couple of prints. So whenever I find something, or whenever I have a fabric line and I don't really know what to do with it and I can't find a quilt that complements it, I just kind of sometimes will design my own. So that's what I did. I had shown this before. I mocked this up in PowerPoint. I had drawn it out on graph paper, did a mock-up of it in PowerPoint, and then I just kind of like improvised as I went. I had no, like, I didn't plan out colors or prints for any of the particular spots except for, you know, where the panels are. And then there were some sections that I knew for sure which fabric I was, like, I wanted all the moons to be in that glittery cream color, so like I knew that was going to be the case, but all the rest of it I just kind of made up as I went. So my plan and how I sort of executed this was I started, it's in rows of 14, 12, 14, 12, 14, and 12. And because there's repeating blocks in the quilt, I started on the bottom in the corner with the moons, and then what I did was I just made all of the moons that appear in the top. So I started here and I made 3. That way, as I worked up the quilt, like, it was coming together faster because most of the blocks were already made. And then I moved on to the big mushroom, which you can see again right there. And then these took forever, these leafy prints right here, because there's so many pieces to them. I had originally made them with this white grunge or this cream grunge stalk in the middle, and then decided I wanted to change it, and then I changed my mind back to keeping it. So, I don't know, I just kind of thought, what's the point? I'm gonna be using that fabric in several places, so it doesn't really matter. And then we've got all of my sawtooth stars. This one appears 5 times. The sawtooth stars appear the most. I think there's 1, 2, 3, there's 5 of them. Yes. And then when we go up here, we have the small mushroom. And then we've got the flower. And that's all of the blocks. Everything else is like, I just filled in with random patchwork, random selections of the different fabric line. And I supplemented the fabric line with a couple of other things. For example, this purple grunge is not a part of the fabric line, but it fits perfectly because the panel has this purple border all the way around it, and the purple grunge matches 100%. And then we've got like this print, which has the morning glories in it, and I pulled this sort of lighter purple to be the center of all of my flowers. I added this print, which is also in the back of all of the sawtooth stars, which is like a sandy dirt looking fabric. And I added the cream grunge, which has been the bodies of all of the mushrooms. The background of the flowers and the moons are the same print. They are a cream sparkle, so there's a shimmer to them. They're not sparkly silver or sparkly gold. They're just kind of shimmery up close. And then I think that's it. So like everything else is in the line. The stripe, the small moth print, the large moth print, the morning glories, and then the green mushrooms. Oh, I also added the points of all the sawtooth stars are this leaf print, which has like a off-white creamy background that I stole from my mother. And it kind of complemented the fabric line really well. So they all mesh together fairly well. I'm pretty happy with how it turned out. I mean, at first it was a little iffy, but I think that is a lesson in just persevering through your project. Because even if you start something and then you start to question how good it's gonna look, just keep going. Because maybe it's just that you don't have enough of it assembled to realize the vision yet. You know what I mean? When I had started all the individual pieces, especially when I got to those leaves, I really started to question whether or not it was gonna look good. And I love the result. I think it looks phenomenal. I'm gonna see if I can kind of get out of the way and show you more of it. So that moon down there is the bottom corner. And then we go up, all the way to the top. Yeah, I think it turned out really great. The finished size is 70 by 75. So 70 wide by 75, no, 78 tall. Sorry, did my math wrong. 70 wide, 78 tall. So it's a decent lap size quilt, a small twin, and it's done and it's ready to go. And I'm very excited for this one because the last time I went to my long arm appointment, so I was looking through her variegateds and she has this really pretty dark purple that's very moody. And I was like, oh God, I need a quilt for this. And I was like, wait, I have a quilt for this. So I'm thinking that's gonna be what I do the quilting with. Now the backing is probably going to throw you off, but just go with me for a second. So the backing, I again stole from Mom. She has a collection of bolts of fabric in her closet that she keeps to use randomly as backings. And so she lets me pilfer from her from time to time. And I saw it and I was like, that's going to work. And again, go with me for a second. Okay, this is the backing, which is this rusty brown polka dot. And now I know you're thinking, Kelly, that color doesn't feature anywhere in your quilt. Lies, you're wrong. I'll show you. All of the panels have a brown, and it's this color. All of the moth prints have a brown, and it's this color. Specifically, the tops of the mushroom print is this color with polka dots. So it's actually kind of perfect. So that's what I'm using it for. There is no better fabric that I could have found for free to be the backing of a quilt. So this is gonna be it. It's already pieced together. Like I said, it's just gonna go into timeout until my next appointment, which is November, I believe. It's before the next update that I'm gonna do at the end of the year. By the time we do the next update, this will be done. So yeah, I'm very pleased with it. I hope you guys like it. I mean, I don't know if you guys were able to see the vision as I was creating it or when I showed you the original design. So I hope you can, let me get more out of the way. I hope you can now, you know, it's done. Okay, so now we're gonna move on to my new starts. I had a stash of pre-cuts and fabric that I had recently purchased in the last couple of updates kind of piling up. So I decided I really need to do something with those. So just kind of caught a wild hair and started those projects with no real intention for them. But I kind of wanted to start something new, and I wanted to utilize the fabric that I purchased. So let me show you the different projects that I started. The first one I got from a tutorial video on Pinterest, and I am using the fabric line Butterscotch, which I will have a full picture of inserted somewhere on the screen. But basically what you do is you take 2 squares of a layer cake and attach them right sides together, stitch all the way around, and then cut them diagonally. So then when you open it up, you end up with 4 half square triangles, and you turn them opposites in. So you'll take one print in the top right, bottom left, and point those colors together, and then take in the other corners, take the opposite print and point those in together, and then stitch it together as a 4 patch. And that creates the square within a square. And then you take that square within a square and you cut 2 inches out from the center seam, both vertically and horizontally, and you end up with a 9 patch. And then what you do is you rotate those blocks certain ways and stitch the 9 patch back together, and you end up with this block that I'm about to show you. So this is the first one. So like I said, you can see the seams here. You stitch 2 together, 2 different, which is, you know, this print and this print, you stitch 2 together, cut them, and then it makes the diamond. And then you cut this way, and you rotate the corners where the mini small triangles are facing out. You rotate the center square a 1/4 turn, and then you flip, like switch these top and bottom, and then left and right. And then when you stitch them all back together as a 9 patch, this is the block you get. And I just made 2 because I just started and I'm really just kind of experimenting with it. This one you can see a little bit better. This one is a little bit more stark in contrast. But it makes this little sawtooth star in the middle with like a 4 patch center. And all of the corners are like its own little arrow. And it looks sweet. It looks very, you know what this one reminds me of? This reminds me of like peanut butter and jelly, or like chocolate and icing. Like this looks very much like sweets to me. I mean, it's called butterscotch, so I guess that's kind of the feeling it was trying to invoke. So I just started with those 2. I went through the entire layer cake and paired them all together. So I tried to get lots of contrast, and then so that's kind of the one I'm thinking I'm going to kind of work on casually between other projects, the same way I did with Monarch. And then when I get some finalized and finished, then I'll get that up on the design wall and be able to shuffle them around. I don't know, I was just kind of feeling something simple. I really leaned into the pre-cuts these last couple of months, so now I got to do something with them, and that was the first thing I did. The second layer cake that I started a project with is this one here. It's kind of Art Deco-y. It's a little bit more elegant in its vibe. It's, you know, the creams and grays and blacks with a tiny little touch of gold metallic. And so I didn't really know what to do with it. And I found this, which came with this ruler, the quick curve ruler, that I purchased for another quilt from So Kind of Wonderful. And each of these rulers, when you purchase them, comes with a pattern. And so this comes with a runner, a table runner. And I was like, if you add enough blocks, you have a quilt. Like, you have a whole, you have something much bigger than a runner, that's for sure. So I pulled it out. I chopped up the layer cake. Each square gave me 3 of the little curves, and I kind of mixed them up and stitched them back together. And this is also where I used the extra galactic solid that I had accidentally ordered more of. I didn't realize I already had some extra, and then I ordered like double. So I needed to burn through it. So it felt like a good color to kind of complement that sort of elegant Art Deco feel of the fabric. And I'm gonna show you the ones that I have assembled already. It's been a really nice way to test my curve sewing ability, which I'm still very new at in spite of how many years experience I have. I've kind of shied away from curves. So this has been really like a great way to flex that muscle. So let me show you the ones that I have already assembled. So to me, personally, I've been referring to these as parentheses because that's what they look like to me. But they could be eyeballs, they could be hourglasses, I don't know. You could call them whatever you wanted. I've been calling them parentheses, but this is the first set. I've just kind of paired them with a dark and a light as far as the pairs go, because the way the numbers worked out whenever I cut them up, there was way more lights. So I went to like half and half. And then this is like the lightest of the dark, which is this very subtle gray. But like I said, there was so many of this color that I couldn't call this a light necessarily. So I just kind of randomly paired them back together. Whenever I put them together on the design wall, I don't really know how I'm gonna do it. I might just keep it random. I might try and group the light grays, the medium grays, and the blacks. I have no idea. I don't really know. But I think it looks very modern and also very masculine, which is not something I commonly quilt, but men need quilts too. You know what I mean? Okay, this is the last one. So yeah, I think there was definitely a learning curve, no pun intended, to it. And I improved as I went. So I'm gonna keep working through that pile. Okay, I've got one more new start, and then we'll go over plans. I don't have any haul to share with you this time. I kind of went way overboard on the haul with my floss tube this past update, so I had to balance it out, I guess. I don't know. I need to stop acting like I'm gonna be immortal and have all the time to craft in the world, because I don't. So I recently acquired a I recently acquired a layer cake from my favorite fabric designer, which is Anna Maria Horner. She actually just got married, so I don't think Horner's her last name anymore. But I know her as AMH. So I will insert a picture of the layer cake. It's a typical AMH, bright, loud, fun, and just like whimsical, which is why I just love her fabrics. This quilt that I'm making with it will be my third AMH quilt that I've used, you know, all of her fabrics on, which is pretty cool. I don't know that she knows I exist, but I adore her. You know what I mean? So when I was hunting for a pattern to use her layer cake on, I came across this one from my stash. This is called Block Step, designed by Robin Pickens. And it comes in multiple sizes, and I'm making the twin size here. So what I had to do was cut up the layer cake almost entirely. There's a couple of, I think there's like 6 or 7 of the blocks that I didn't have to cut up. So I'll find probably some way to work those into the backing. But the rest of them, they had to get cut up all into a uniform size. So I did that. I did all of the cutting. It is ready to be assembled. I kind of put it in, I just laid it out in like a pseudo color gradient, but they're gonna get all mixed up, so I don't know why I did that. It was just nice to look at the time. And you have to have 3 accent colors to add to the squares, and I couldn't decide which 3 to settle on, so what I ended up doing was buying 6, and then I narrowed it down to 4. And I haven't decided yet which 3 to use. The backing, or the background, excuse me, that I'm using is this beautiful peacock blue. And you might be thinking, Kelly, you use a lot of blue as your backings. I know I do. I'm not sorry. But this is, I forget the name of the color, but it's like a very dark teal, and it complements the fabrics. And they all really pop on this color, which is why I went with it. Now, of those 6 complementary fabrics that you need, that I bought, like I said, narrowed it down to 4, and then these are the 4 that I narrowed it down to. So I went through and I matched them up, and these all match multiple fabrics in the line. So that's why I'm having a lot of trouble narrowing it down. I don't really know which one to rule out. And I'm kind of thinking I might not rule any of them out and just figure it out as I go. And then work in the 4th color instead of just trying to figure out like, okay, this many is going to be this accent color and this many is going to be this accent color. Like I might just put what I have on the wall and decide I want yellow there, I want purple there, I want pink there, blah, blah, blah. And then work in all 4. I'm honestly, it's probably what I'm going to do because they all look fantastic with the line. So I'm at a loss. So the next time you see me for the next update, this one will be off the wall and finished. And then I think I'm going to have Block Step up on there next, but I don't know if it'll, like, I could have finished that one as well in the next 3 months. I probably will have, honestly. So you may or may not see this one on the design wall. We'll cross that bridge when we come to it. But that was all the quilting I did in the last few weeks. Which whenever I'm like mentioning it, it never feels like a lot, but I know it's a lot. I finished 3 quilts. That's a lot. And a quilt top. And I started 3 projects. Okay, it's a lot. I need to give myself some grace here. So plans for the next update. This will be finished. Block Step may or may not be finished. I'm going to keep working on the other 2 new starts. And then I'm probably going to start 3 more things. Because I still have other pre-cuts that I've purchased and I need to create something with them. The issue that I'm having is I have no shortage of patterns. That is for sure. But I do have a shortage of patterns that require pre-cuts or that require something similar to the amount of pre-cuts that come in these fabric lines, if that makes sense. Like I can pull a pattern that says pull or fabric requirements are, you know, 10 fat quarters plus 3 accent fabrics. And I'm like, well, my fat quarter bundle has 18, so I need more than that. That doesn't work. And I like to try and feature them together. They obviously coordinate. That's what they were designed for. So that's kind of the dilemma I'm coming across. And again, as we've stated, if I can't find anything, I'll make something myself. The other plans I have, I didn't do any work on my existing whips. So I didn't do any more work on Ether, which I'll have a picture inserted for. I still need to attach all of the orange peels to the quilt top. It's sitting over there. So I want to try and do that. I had intended to have that quilt top done before this update, but that obviously didn't work out. So hopefully by the end of the year. And then over here in these boxes, I have my backing, which I've already assembled, and then the all of the fabrics that I've collected to create the background of my Laura Heine Siren collage quilt. So I need to keep working on that because that's been sitting over there for a hot minute. And then I do still have my English paper piece Hexie quilt that I haven't touched in like a year and a half. I've been making the hexies in the background. I've been trying to work through all of my scraps that I can make into hexies and then organizing them. So there is work being done, just not on the quilt itself. I have 2 big shoe boxes full of like rainbow organized hexies that I need to just start pulling from. But I'm slow at it because making hexies really hurts my thumbs, especially the thumbnail, because I'm kind of pinching. I haven't found anything that really helps. I haven't found like that magnets help or even like pinning them together. I don't know. I just need to stop being a little baby and do it is what I need to do. But yeah, that is my quilting update this time, guys. I really hope that you enjoyed it and that you felt inspired and want to start some quilty projects that perhaps you hadn't considered before. I'm always willing to talk quilting. I'm always willing to answer questions about quilting and just gab and share patterns and share fabrics and help spread quilty love throughout the world. I know there's more of us out there. I just know it. Either they're not on YouTube or they haven't found me yet or whatever. So if you know of any quilters in your life, maybe share this with them so that we can connect and be quilty friends. I love talking to my quilty friends. You can always reach out to me on my Instagram. I have my email link down below. You can write me an email. You can always comment here and that's fine too. So yeah, thank you so much for joining me, guys. I so appreciate you. I wish you good health. Stay safe out there. The world feels kind of crazy right now. Flu season's coming. If you are able to and desire to, get your flu shot. Regardless, wash your hands, cough into your elbow. Can you tell I work in healthcare? And I hope your quilty crafty bug is alive and well. And I'll see you guys for my end of the year update in the next couple months. Thanks so much for hanging out with me. Bye.